Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk about arguments, specifically what constitutes an argument and what does not. So people try to persuade others of their opinions all the time. Some of these persuasive techniques can take the form of arguments, but sometimes they try to persuade using emotive language rather than arguments. For example, you should believe X. You really need to believe X. It is imperative that you believe X. All of these are claims for believing X, but they in and of themselves are not actually arguments. An argument needs to have claims that try to persuade someone of a conclusion. Therefore, an argument needs to have a conclusion and at least one premise that helps support that conclusion. Whether the premise or premises logically lead to a conclusion can be up for debate when assessing the argument, but whether the premises are true or logically lead to the conclusion of the argument is irrelevant as to whether there actually is an argument. For example, you should eat your fruits and vegetables is a claim, not an argument. Although most would agree with the claim, it is still not an argument. But 1. Leo has 2 legs. 2. A table has 2 legs. Conclusion, Leo is a table. This is actually an argument. One can point out the ridiculousness of the argument, but it is still technically an argument. I think it's important to recognize when a person is actually making an argument as opposed to a statement. Often people can appear very reasonable by employing emotive language and forceful language when they're actually not presenting an argument of any kind. This tactic was unfortunately employed to powerful and devastating effect by many tyrants throughout history, including Hitler. You'll often hear passion and strong language in Hitler's speeches, and no doubt he used these to shattering effect, but very rarely does he present an argument for the claims he makes. When he actually does try to provide justification for the claims he makes, that is where understanding of how arguments are structured and laid out formally become extremely important. For example, Hitler said this when praising Imperial Germany in 1924. No other state had such honest and principled civil servants as the former Germany. No other nation possessed an army in which the highest regard for personal honor had become a tradition. 26 states tried to defeat this Reich, but in a struggle which lasted for 4 years they failed, a proof of the power and strength of this Reich. There was no real need for a revolution. It seems that the point Hitler is trying to make is that Imperial Germany had honest and principled civil servants, as well as an army in which the highest regard for personal honor had become a tradition. In support of this conclusion, he says that 26 states tried to defeat this Reich, but they failed, a proof of the power and strength of this Reich. This fact actually does nothing to back up the claim that his armies were honest and principled civil servants, and they had high regard for personal honor. He might make the claim that because they were able to hold off invasion for 4 years, that proves their honesty and regard for personal honor. This might work if he was talking about the army's respect for themselves or the land they were protecting, but the mere fact that they were able to hold off invaders tells us nothing about their level of respect for other people. Hitler even sort of concedes to this when he says a proof of the power and strength of this Reich. If we were to make the argument that they were able to hold off nations, therefore they were powerful, I can concede that that follows. But that conclusion does nothing to support the original claim that they are honest and principled civil servants. As for the last claim, which comes completely out of the blue, there was no real need for a revolution. Well, that is just a matter of perspective. If you ask the generals leading this army, they may agree. If you ask the people they were fighting against, there could be conjecture. If you ask the people who were destined to watch their family members starve to death in the Nazi camps over a decade after this speech, I think there would be a lot of pushback on the claim that there was no real need for a revolution in 1924. So I hope this video shows the importance of identifying when arguments are presented and the importance of assessing the claims made in support of a particular conclusion. And that just because someone can make an argument does not mean that that argument is a good one. I hope to cover common fallacies later. I also hope to do more breakdowns of speeches as well as actually do full argument reconstruction. If that is something you wish to see, then let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all later. Thank you so much for watching.